on the examination of the galaxies of space, images begin to appear. Images of strange and powerful forces. But of all the forces in the universe, the two most powerful, John Scott and SP3, prepare to explode. Champion versus champion. Legend versus legend. It's the ultimate challenge. It's WrestleMania!
Hello, and welcome to Powered4SP3 WrestleMania week. We're kicking off right here, and of course, I'm joined by the man himself, the A side of the cassette, as I always say, the Tru Heel Heat himself, Mr. SP3. How are you doing, buddy? Look, I've got the jacket on just for this. I've got the Bret Hart t-shirt. I'm ready. I'm pumped. I should be because I've been bloody editing all week. I tell you, it's been a nightmare. But how are you doing, my friend?
I know I didn't get the memo that I was supposed to wear like a blazer. I didn't even really iron my shirt, but yeah, yeah, I'm here. I am here. It is Wednesday, and you know what that means. SP3 here on Powered 4 TV for Powered 4 SP3. Talk about some wrestling. Talk about some WrestleMania. I am pumped up. I've been recording myself all week on our YouTube channel, Tru Heel Heat, as well as working, doing everything else, doing on all these other YouTube channels. So I am glad to be here with you, Mr. John Scott, here to talk about some graps.
Absolutely. And shout out to your friend over at New York. This is for him, Top Guy JJ in the house. The Jack Daniels is here, WrestleMania. I thought, you know what, why not? I should have been doing this really after I'd finished editing. So it's a bit of a gamble. This could, you know, when you see the main event on Saturday and you suddenly realize it hasn't come out right, well, this was the influence. It happened here. So you can blame that moment right there. Guys, don't forget to bring in your comments, your questions, give us some predictions. You know, what do you think's going to happen? Any special surprises? You know, they like to chuck us a curveball now and then. So let us know in the comments. We're going to be very busy this week. Just want to give a shout out to Games and Graps. They'll be doing their pre-show later. They're going to be busy this week. They got 4 of them. So very busy time for them. You can check them out from 9 p.m. In the UK. They'll be available on our Facebook page. Go and check that out. I'm sure they're going to have lots to talk about with everything that's going to be going on. But my friend, I thought we'd start the show with, you know, a massive bit of news, considering we was just talking about the belt. None other than Will Ospreay becomes the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and this is for me, this is like not a small thing. This is quite big. You know, if you think about the West in general, you know, the American stars that used to go over there. I mean, I was just recently watching a documentary about AJ Styles about, you know, he was one of very few. I think before him, it was Brock Lesnar, and they don't hand them out regular. You know, I know Kenny Omega and the rest of it, but it's you got to be something over there to win that title. It's not like a hot potato like we see on the WWE sometimes. This is quite a respected thing. How surprised was you, SP3, being the big New Japan fan that you are? You know, I really wanted to get your thoughts on, of course, the new champion himself. We know you don't like the belt, but did it look any better on the shoulder of Will Ospreay?
It actually did. It did. And you are right. It is a big deal. Will Ospreay became the first ever British-born IWGP heavyweight champion in history. So you got to give it up for him making that type of history. And he's doing well in his heel role. I thought that the match was great. I thought it was phenomenal storytelling, as well as the work rate between these two men. They're two of the best in the world, and they proved that. And like you said, the IWGP heavyweight champion, the top title in New Japan, is probably the most protected championship in all of professional wrestling over the last decade. In the last 10 years, only now with Will Ospreay, 10 guys have won that title. So that the fact you could say that, and you know, when you compare it to like the WWE championship, it's like night and day. But
yeah,
this causes a lot of controversy because one, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and the booking in New Japan in general has not been well booked since the whole pandemic. We had Naito win the double gold at Wrestle Kingdom 14. Then we had the whole pandemic pause his title reign, and then we get Evil's title reign, which was much maligned. It wasn't successful, so they put the title back on Naito, and Naito was never really able to get his momentum back that he had before. So he then lost to Kota Ibushi, and then you cut the legs off of Kota Ibushi. He gets all this heat for being the guy to get rid of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and IWGP Intercontinental Championship and bring us that monstrosity that was the new IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And then he loses in his first title defense of this new title. It's like New Japan, man, like New Japan has done such a great job with like Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi. They have built two of the biggest stars in professional wrestling in the last decade. You know, Kenny Omega, AJ Styles, they can take a lot of credit for it, those guys. But, you know, they've also been successful in other places. But under their marker for the last decade, Okada and Tanahashi are the two biggest stars. And it just seems like they could get Naito and Ibushi up to their level, but they always seem to cut their legs off. Like Ibushi has been booked great. Like he's won every single tournament in New Japan, from the Best of the Super Juniors, the New Japan Cup, the G1 Climax twice. He's only the second or third guy to win the G1 twice, the first guy since 2004 last year. So he is booked well, but you can book him and give him a title reign that would be memorable here. They had that opportunity because he had already had like 3 or 4 title defenses in his first few months as champion, and they never had that type of like work rate as far as the title defenses like that in history. So the fact that they were starting him on a good trend, he was going to have a memorable title reign. And the fact that you got him unwanted heat for getting rid of the 2 beautiful titles and bringing in an ugly one, and then he loses it. It just feels like Ibushi's momentum and his Wrestler of the Year campaign has been cut short. And now Will Ospreay is definitely in the league because he's had classics against Sabre Jr., Okada, Shingo. Now a great match against Ibushi. Will Ospreay's on a hell of a roll, so congratulations to him. But Will Ospreay has a cloud over him, a very black cloud, due to his involvement in the speaking out movement and the Pollyanna situation. So that brings also more heat on New Japan for pushing him and giving them the main title. So there is a multitude of controversies and layers to this that it doesn't really shine at the best light on New Japan. But then you look at it on the other end of the spectrum, and Wrestling Dontaku sells out in 24 hours this week when they make Shingo versus Will Ospreay rematch for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship the main event. So you got to look at it from both ends of the spectrum.
Business.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, it'll be fascinating to see that go ahead. But yes, certainly no small thing there, that's for sure. Very, very interesting. Now, of course, this is WrestleMania. As I said a couple of weeks ago, it's gone from WrestleMania Day in my childhood. I'd get up early in the morning and watch all the build-up. I think at WrestleMania 2000, they did some sort of like all-day WrestleMania. That was the first one. Then it's gone to a weekend. Now it's a freaking week. How long is it going to be until it's the month, SP3? And Vince McMahon just expects everybody to book a whole month off like a public holiday for these things to watch it all, because it's a hell of a dedication, I'm telling you. But tonight, of course, we have the beginning of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. And let's be honest here, like in the last few years, I mean, maybe not so much last year, but of course, like the years before that, it kind of become one of those things where the NXT TakeOver, a lot of fans kind of enjoyed them more than the actual big WrestleMania show, especially coming out the other side. So it's definitely got its purpose. It's made some identity. This year they've gone for sort of 2 nights as well. I don't know what to make of that, but I suppose they get more time for those kind of matches, because we know in NXT traditionally they do get a longer time of their matches, and that's kind of why I think we enjoy it, because they're able to tell that story. And we've got a lot of matches here, SP3. I'm going to flash up. Obviously, I spoke to you earlier because I was trying to find the latest update, because they've been changing a lot. So I believe this is the one. Let me take that off there. You're going to have borrower's eyes here, the small people, to be able to see all this. I've got to be honest with you. So I do apologize for that ahead. Do you know the match, though, that I've been mostly looking forward to, SP3, is none other than one of my true favorites from the UK. He came over here very, very dominant. And that is none other than Walter. Of course, Walter in WWE is how they like to pronounce. But to see him there, I'm over the moon, because I think it's about time he gets a bit of a shine, overseas and over WrestleMania weekend. And the match he's got, it's not like they've just put him against the sort of, we'll just get a Walter match out of him. No, they've actually put him up against Ciampa, which I think is a great move. And I think it's his time to shine a little bit. What stands out to you, my friend, has been a couple of the matches. I'm sure you've got a few that you're looking forward to over the next 2 nights.
That's definitely one of them. Walter versus Ciampa is definitely the match I'm looking forward to the most on night 1, along with Kushida versus Pete Dunne. I really feel like these are 2 of the best technical wrestlers in all of NXT. Kushida has already stolen the show at the first takeover of this year at Vengeance Day against Johnny Gargano. Pete Dunne has had great matches against Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor over the last month. So I expect if they get time, they can possibly steal the show here as well. And I think that the tag team title match with MSK, GYV, and Legado del Fantasma will be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, the main event with Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez. I think this is a huge opportunity for Raquel Gonzalez. She got like a really big time, win at TakeOver Vengeance Day, but that was in the opener. And now she's going all the way to the main event. So this is a huge stage for her. Io Shirai has already main evented a TakeOver back at In Your House against Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. Io Shirai has a bunch of experience on the TakeOver stage, but I feel like this is Raquel Gonzalez, crowning moment, crowning achievement. So I feel like she gets to win tonight. Night 2, I feel, is the stronger night. I think the NXT Cruiserweight ladder match is going to be amazing. I think that these guys are determined to steal the show because the Cruiserweights don't get enough attention on the TakeOver stage. So I feel like they maximize those moments when they do get them. And the unsanctioned match between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, it's just going to be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be one of the best matches of the entire WrestleMania week and possibly one of the best matches of the year. The culmination of the Undisputed Era, the whole explosion. And this feels like the biggest feud blow off or big takeover match since Ciampa Gargano in TakeOver WrestleMania weekend in 2018. As for the main event, I'm not too interested in it as far as the in-ring work. But the outcome is the most interesting thing for me as far as Balor versus Cross, because I feel like it could go either way, because Finn Balor is on a hell of a run. He's on one of the best runs of his entire career, one of the best runs in all of the WWE. I would say, along with Sheamus, as far as in-ring work, it's been Balor and Sheamus, the best in-ring workers in WWE in 2021. Karrion Kross, he needs to win. He needs.
Yeah, I want to see him win.
He needs to win here because he got his legs cut off by the injury when he won the NXT Championship back at TakeOver 30. He really hasn't been able to, pick up the momentum back that he had back then. But this win could do that. And if they are planning on having Balor beat him and then him getting called up to the main roster, he's going to be in a very horrible position for Raw or SmackDown. So the best move is to put the title on him. Keep Balor on NXT if you want. You can make this a longer feud, go back and forth. Balor can chase, but Karrion Kross needs to win at TakeOver.
Interesting. No, I think I kind of agree with everything you've just said there about the outcome. Who is the? Is it very obvious? I can't say I've looked into it too much, but this North American, it's a question marks there of the opponent. Is this a complete mystery, or is this very much well known?
I mean, I tend to go with nowadays with NXT to follow the WWE tea leaves. So Dexter Lumis seems like the guy they've been building up for this match for him to win the gauntlet on night one versus Gargano on night two. But that's like the least interesting match to give Johnny Gargano on TakeOver. And Johnny Gargano, he's had really good matches with like Damian Priest on stage, but doesn't really have show stealer like he did Sheeta at Vengeance Day for a long time. So I think that the guy to win the gauntlet is Bronson Reed. If not Bronson Reed, then probably Cameron Grimes. But Bronson Reed makes more sense, and he's been building for the North American Championship for a while. So I think it would be a great match with him and Gargano.
Absolutely. Well, let's just go into the comments. Here's one of the guys in this. Great time in there, Kyle, whilst we're talking about NXT TakeOver, because myself and Kyle will be doing a review on Friday at 3 p.m. You can catch it with us. He's going to do a great job. He's going to get all the notes for us, so we're going to have a good time doing that. Let's flash it up there, Kyle. There we go. There's the banner. Go and check that out with us on Friday. We're going to look forward to that. But thank you very much, Cole, for watching. I mean, I think overall SP3, like, I would say I'm actually more sort of, as a whole card, I'm more for this than WrestleMania at the moment. Just because I think I'm going to enjoy this a lot more. Is that the same with you? Or do you think because I'm downplaying WrestleMania so much, I'm going to come out of it and be actually happily surprised?
I think that WrestleMania will over-deliver because the card on paper looks really strong. And the in-ring work, I think that when you look up and down the card on both nights, pretty much all the matches, you're like, oh, that's going to be good. I think like the only things that probably won't be good or won't be anything worth of note is probably the tag team turmoil on night one and maybe Braun versus Shane, because at this point, I don't know who's interested in that feud. But yeah, other than those two, I think that every match has some interest in it.
Absolutely. Who we got here? Now here's the guy, Mr. Mike Angus, who put, of course, together that little intro. Fantastic stuff. Really getting, he's soul searching Vince McMahon in all that. Absolutely. I've got a few other questions here. So Rambo's got a good one. I checked this out a little bit earlier. He put this up. If WWE booked WrestleMania like Wrestle Kingdom show, is it fair to say we would see matches like AJ versus Cole, Walter versus Nakamura, Bryan versus Dunn, Lashley versus Owens instead of entertainment approach? It's an interesting way of looking at it, I suppose, but I don't think we'd ever see, well, not in this life, not at the moment, but I mean, I would take some of those matches, to be fair. I think Bryan and Pete Dunne would be quite interesting. I mean, look, I suppose if it was New Japan, they wouldn't have some of the guys that are at the top of WWE now and vice versa. We might be all shaped different. But to be honest with you, WrestleMania has never been always about the greatest matches. I think that, I don't know, don't quote me on this. You might be the man here to correct me here, SP3, but I believe Dave Meltzer, Uncle Dave, has only ever given 2 5-star matches in the entire WrestleMania lot, which was Austin and Brett and the ladder match from WrestleMania 10. So in those terms, they're not always the greatest time for matches. I mean, I'm surprised Shawn Michaels and Undertaker didn't get one, but, it's one of those things. You were at the one where...
It got 4 3 quarters.
Oh, okay.
There's a few WrestleMania matches like that where he explains and he's like, this 1 or 2 thing didn't happen. It would have got 5 stars. With the Undertaker
telling you what to do. That's the one.
With the Undertaker Shawn Michaels, it was the Simsuka spot where he drops Taker on his head on the dive. That's the reason, because that's scary, and you think Undertaker's career is over, so that kind of takes you out of the match. So I understood his explanation on that, because that was one match that I always held against him for not giving 5 stars, because I believe that's a 5-star match. But
absolutely. And before we go anywhere else, I was expecting you to turn up last week, Brett, but thank you for the kind words. I had read the messages on YouTube.
yes.
Brett Thomas, the man that's been coming on since day one, asking us about Logan Paul, and me kind of just laughing it off, really, brushing it off the shoulder. And what happens? He turns up, and now he's going to be at WrestleMania. More on that as we go. But according to Brett Thomas, he's gonna, it's what it's all about, apparently. So we'll see. Is Logan Paul gonna steal the night? Will he get 5 stars? We'll have to see there on Uncle Dave, won't we? But nonetheless, now this is an interesting one here. I just saw this flashed up. Mark Lloyd, I think he's getting a little bit of a stir in here. I asked SB3 on Wrestling Daily last week, who is the best co-host, and he sold you down the river, John. Alex McCarthy got the spot. What do you plan to do after SB3's Tru Heel turn? You know what? I haven't thought about it. I mean, I saw the clip because he kept posting it to me, this guy. So I'm thinking, is he here to stir? Is he like making some conflicts? How can we resolve? Yeah, how can we resolve this? Steel cage match, triple threat. They like triple threats, don't they? So we could just include that, an invasion angle or something. But do you know what? Look, Alex McCarthy. Look, I'm not going to take it away from him. I'm sure. If SP3, he's made the right move. I'm a big fan of Alex McCarthy. I've been for a long time. Enjoys Talk Sport work. I know Will Gavin very well. He's co-host there. So you know what? Maybe I'll have a quick word in his ear and make sure we get some stuff straight. But thank you very much, Mark, for that, for stirring the pot, as they say. Yeah, I was gonna say he sent me clips that came in. So I forgot to actually mention it to you, SB3 off air. But there you go. He's just put it in. Moving swiftly on for WrestleMania week here. Let's go to the next big topic here, I suppose, which is more changes, as if we haven't had enough already with what the Hurt Business breaking up and all the rest of it very suddenly. I mean, yeah, what are we making of this whole thing at the moment with changes to WrestleMania and all the rest of it coming in? Is it just too much now, or is this just what we have to get used to with WWE of late, because it just seems very erratic?
Well, I mean, WWE, with the changes to their weekly schedule, I think it's a little bit different. As far as like the WrestleMania, the pandemic last year kind of necessitated it, and then they kind of followed up with it this year because it worked. It worked last year. Wow. WrestleMania was more enjoyable as 2 3-hour shows than 1 7-hour show. It just was. Like WrestleMania 35, a lot of people will say that's the best of like the recent years. And I'm just like, man, I was bored after Kofi versus Bryan. that show bombed. That show fell off a cliff after Kofi and Bryan. That's the peak of that show. And then you got another hour and a half before Becky and Ronda and Charlotte try to salvage this thing. It's like,
who ended up not getting enough time, by the way.
It's just like, no, that show was not good. It was not appeasing. It was not good for the people that was there. Like a lot of people's like Chrissy Love over on Tru Heel Heat. That was her first WrestleMania. And she's just like, what would be the one word you describe it? She said tired. Like she was tired after WrestleMania. That's not the feeling you want. After WrestleMania last year, night 1, I was confused a lot after watching the Boneyard match, but I was entertained by the whole night overall. And then night 2, I was just like, wow, this WrestleMania weekend was great because I saw the Firefly Funhouse. I saw Rhea and Charlotte. I got to see, overall, I got to see Rollins and Owens, the triple threat for the tag team titles. So Boneyard match, like there was so much fun stuff across 2 days. It became more enjoyable. As for the weekly schedule, WWE going to Tuesday nights with NXT it's because of NHL going to USA Network. NHL is going to be bigger for ad revenue as well as in the ratings against AEW, so it just makes sense for USA. This is good for NXT because more people can watch NXT live, and NXT consistently has a very solid show, but it had a direct comparison to AEW Dynamite, which has been delivering the best and most entertaining wrestling product in the last, over the last year or so. So it's like when you have to compare yourself to that every single week, you're always going to come up short. That's why a lot of people have now passed on the theory that SmackDown is the best WWE show or best wrestling show overall, because NXT has that direct comparison to Dynamite and they're going to look inferior. So it just works for NXT to be on Tuesdays. But because of them going to Tuesday, it changes the whole wrestling week, because Impact is now going to be on Thursdays. You're going to have, AEW Dark Elevation on Mondays along with Raw. Tuesdays, you're going to have AEW Dark. You also got NWA Power and now WWE NXT. Wednesday is going to be for Dynamite. Now, Dynamite stands alone as the only wrestling product on Wednesday, which I'm very happy of, because I can call it at night at 10 p.m. I don't have to continue watching wrestling and turn on NXT to watch that after AEW Dynamite. And now this Wednesday, I have to watch both at the same time because we're going live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. And my guys on that channel used to do that regularly for Wednesday Night Warriors. So yeah, that's a lot.
It feels like you got to go to a gym now to get fit to watch these shows.
I give it up for. Oh my God, you got to work out and pump up and stuff. Thursdays used to be an off day, and now Thursdays got wrestling on it because you got NXT UK, you got Impact Wrestling. So it changes my schedule a lot. I usually record my podcast on certain weeks on a Thursday, and now this week we're going live on Thursday at 5 p.m. But we have to do it strategically before NXT Takeover and Impact Wrestling comes on, because of the whole changes to the wrestling week. And then we end off on Friday that has SmackDown. You got 205 Live. You got New Japan Strong. In some outlets, you got ROH. Saturdays, there's usually a pay-per-view or something, or ROH comes on certain areas. And then, this Saturday, we got WrestleMania. Sunday, we got WrestleMania. Monday, we got Raw again. And Tuesday, we got NXT on Tuesdays for the first time. So we got a crazy next couple of days. It's been a crazy 2-week period from this week with WrestleMania, and then the changes to the wrestling week next week. So a lot of changes in store, but it doesn't change Powered 4 SP3, because we're going to be talking about everything.
Yeah, just the thought of it's making me tired. But in any case, SP3, do you know one of the interesting things I think which will be so much better, especially for WWE, is they're not going to be as reactional every week on NXT now. I think it'll be a godsend. I really do, because I think they can get back to doing what they were doing before, and try and do their own stuff rather than trying to counter what the other one's doing. And I think that's how it worked best in the first place. That's why it's separated from what else was going on WWE TV for me, gave it real identity. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. SP3, can I just ask, does that change? That's from next week, you say? Yeah, that's next week.
Yes.
Tuesday nights. Okay, so that's...
And I forgot MLW Fusion on Wednesdays before Dynamite. So yeah, Dynamite's not the only wrestling product.
Why not just chuck another one in there as well for good measure? Guys, we're going to take a quick break, but coming up after the break, we've got a special guest coming on. Not going to tell you who it is, but he's going to take part on some good WrestleMania stuff here. So all that and more when we come back. Check out now Chicagoland Championship Wrestling.
I do. You work here, right? I do. That is Chicagoland, not Chicago, you idiot.
Oh, this could be the end right here.
20 years, all we've ever done is put gold on people's waists and turn the athletes into champions and then legends. Oh, griminess. This belt is about fighting. This belt is about the streets.
Guys, meet the fabulous idols. I'm here to tell you, you're not that fabulous.
He's a Sin City playboy. Yes, wow.
I'm not going to wrestle unless they play my song. Fight me.
There you go, Chicagoland Championship Wrestling. Check out now on Powered4.TV. And as I always say, there's only one thing to go for here. That is use the code SP3 for 50% off. Like, come on, you want more stuff? Do you need more stuff to get up and hyper for WrestleMania? Go and check out Powered4.TV. SP3, I think this is as good as time as ever to start plugging some of our stuff, because we got a lot of stuff here. So I think let's just tell everyone what we got now. I've got the Tru Heel Heat schedule, which in itself is ridiculously big, and this is just Tru Heel Heat. I mean, this guy's all over the place. You know, you got to have like a permanent diary on your, I don't know, like a smartwatch or something to tell you where you are. I don't know how you're keeping up with this, but yeah, there's all the stuff to find. Of course, you can find this on Powered4.TV to find out more Tru Heel Heat. Tell us a little bit about what's coming up here, Mr. SP3, because I know you're going to be doing the huge round table 30 minutes after WrestleMania, which is going to be either very exciting or depressing, I suppose, depending on how we come out of it and how long it's going to be.
Yes. Yeah, I got a lot on tap. Yeah, you see this whole schedule here. Later on today, I'm going to be on Wrestling Daily with my good brother, Alex McCarthy. We got Wednesday Night Warriors goes live 30 minutes following AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT, the finale of Wednesday Night Warriors with NXT moving to Tuesdays. We go live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel for Tru Heel Heat 120 at 5 p.m. on Thursday with our special guest, Darius Carter, one of the best up-and-coming true heels in the professional wrestling business coming out of New York. He's going to be live with us previewing WrestleMania. We're going to have an official WrestleMania 37 preview with a bunch of the cast of Tru Heel Heat previewing the two-night event. We got our NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Roundtable review dropping on Saturday. And then we go live 30 minutes after WrestleMania 37 on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel with our reviews of night 1 and night 2, 30 minutes following the show, like I said. But I'm gonna be a bunch of places, like you said. Wrestling Daily, I'm gonna be live on the Wrestle Talk podcast channel with Louis Dan Gore. We're gonna be previewing night 2 of WrestleMania at 6 p.m. Eastern time, 11 p.m. BST on Sunday. That's 1 hour before the pre-show kicks off. And then I'll be on Sportskeeda Wrestling tomorrow, actually, going live 11 a.m. Eastern time. I believe it's 4 p.m. BST. I always have to remember and think of the clock. And there you have it. Yes, I'm going live.
A little birdie just sent this to me. I don't know where it come from, but it's here.
With Jeremy Lambert and legend of the professional wrestling business, Dutch Mantel, aka Zeb Coulter. He's gonna be live with
my
us.
Man.
We've been messaging each other. He's giving me his thoughts on WWE right now, and boy, oh boy, this preview is gonna be a lot of fun for me. I gotta be the point running the show. Jeremy Lambert, he's the host of the Distraction podcast over on Fightful Wrestling, one of the best wrestling podcasts because they have so much fun, so much humor, part of their podcast, and then they talk about a whole bunch of things like MTV The Challenge, basketball, like they're just fun. So I wanted to get Jeremy on this, and now we got Dutch Mantel. It's a living legend with me, so it's a great opportunity for me. So I hope you guys join us on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel for that. And then I'm back on SK Wrestling for Smack Talk on Friday following SmackDown. So with Zeb Coulter and with Dutch Mantel and Rick Ucchino. So that's going to be great.
I'm very jealous there. I'm a big fan of Dutch Mantel. He's booking in Puerto Rico and all the rest of it. He's a very interesting guy, very, very knowledgeable in the business. Somebody out there needs to retain his services. I'm telling you, he's a real deep thinker. Yeah, get the money in, get this guy on. So yeah, that's I'll definitely be tuning into that, my friend. Mark my words. On our side, of course, I mentioned him earlier. I'll give him another plug. Carl's wrestling. Myself and Carl will be doing the whole NXT takeover stand and deliver. I just think of Adamant every time that gets said.
Stand and deliver. I'm yours.
No, not that one, I'm afraid.
That's what I think of when I hear stand and
Yeah,
deliver. That's what
I've got a completely different image in my head, I can tell you. Friday night, we've got Big Fight Weekly. They've done a special MMA wrestling crossover. Myself and Justin Clapper from Wrestling Travel, we represent pro wrestling against Stewie Palmer himself and Chris. They do a fantastic job. We're talking about MMA guys that have gone into wrestling and wrestling guys that have gone into, of course, MMA. And the pros and cons. It's a great show. Check it out. We've got a special added time football theme, of course, a football show every week, but we're going to have a little bit of a wrestling input here. Of course, you can see a shot there of Vinnie Jones. Don't know how much you know about him, SP3, but he was quite involved with one of the shows they did over here called Capital Carnage some years ago. After a Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels film, they seemed to pounce on all that. Here's one coming up, Hair of the Mad Dog. Now, over in this country, it's traditional that after a late night out and a hangover, what do? You have hair of the dog, which basically means, SP3, if you're not familiar, it's have a beer. Just have more alcohol and that'll sort you out. You should tell your man over Top Guy JJ. I think he'll probably need some of that advice soon. No doubt about that. That's going to be coming on Sunday. We're going to be talking about night one of WrestleMania from, I believe, I can't remember the bloody time now. I think it's 2:00. Probably not, but I cannot remember for love nor money. But yeah, all that and more coming in. But you know what? I think it's time to bring on the guest. You know, I've been holding him off here, but here he is, ladies and gentlemen. There he is, the Mad Dog, Mike Angus, wrestling announcer, presenter, and everything in between. He's there with a bow tie. You're looking more smarter than me, more dapper than me, Michael. I've got to say, how you doing, buddy? And you know, great to have you on this WrestleMania special.
Thanks so much, John. Yeah, brilliant to see you. Great to catch up with SP3 again as well. Good to see you, buddy.
Great to see you, Mad Dog. It's been too long since we shared the screen together.
Yeah, I'm looking smart today. It was a Hall of Fame last night, so I'm still celebrating Davey Boy Smith going into the Hall of Fame. That was great stuff. British Bulldog there. So, you know, really happy to have seen that last night. And as well, Rob Van Dam, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Great fella, Rob Van Dam, and he's gone in as well. So nice to see. It's a nice busy week for you both. I've just seen going through there. Looks like you've got all sorts planned.
Yeah, absolutely. My eyes are starting to strain looking at screens and editing monitors. I got to be honest. Yeah, I got to be honest. Now, Michael, you'll be familiar with this. I introduced this concept last week to SP3, but you'll be familiar with this because I stole it from Added Time, as you do. And here we are. We got the legends. Yeah, we got the rated system going on that we used last week. So I thought, you know what, being that it's WrestleMania, let's do it on some WrestleMania events. I've picked out 4 random events, and you guys can tell me where those events fit for you in this this traditional rated system. I believe, you know, very traditional, especially at the bottom there. And we can work out where things go. Don't hold back. I'm sure you won't. Let's start first off, though. Here we go, WrestleMania 9, and here's a clip I couldn't resist. There we go, the Fink himself, Maximus himself. What a time that was. Jim Ross's first WrestleMania as well, and they turn up and put him in that costume. Where does this WrestleMania 9 go for you guys on our grid today? SP3, I'll start with you.
Crap. It's crap. The only thing that makes it stand out.
You are harsh. You are.
The only thing that makes it stand out is the togas and the theme of it, but that's about it. There's nothing great matches on the card. There's a good match with Michaels and I believe Tatanka, but yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I'm not.
You weren't a fan of Giant Gonzalez, SP3. You
wasn't a fan of
me.
The Undertaker's worst match is at this WrestleMania. His worst WrestleMania match. He added one of his better WrestleMania entrances with the bird and stuff. That was great. And Bobby the Brain Heenan is great. You know, coming out during his entrance and on commentary, but we have one of the worst endings in WrestleMania history with Hulk Hogan stealing the spotlight once again and beating Yokozuna after you just beat Bret the Hitman Hart for the WWF Championship. Yeah, it's crap.
Michael, where does WrestleMania 9 rank for you, my friend? Where's that going for you?
Well, last year I actually did a review on WrestleMania 9, which was about an hour and a half long.
I thought you did.
So,
I could vaguely remember, yes.
Yeah, so and in that I told the story. Basically, WrestleMania 9 was really what got me hooked on wrestling, because seen bits and bobs before on videos and stuff. But then WrestleMania
I only
9...
looked better after that, I bet.
Well, yeah, I caught up with WrestleMania 9 from like magazines and stuff. And then by the time it came around to WrestleMania 10, I was watching WrestleMania 10 live. So WrestleMania 9 was really what swayed me into watching it. And the things that stood out for me randomly was I thought the Steiners versus Head Shrinkers match was a great tag match. It was brutal at the time for me to watch. It's not too bad if you go back and watch that one. It's still is a decent enough match. And the story with Doink and Crush, I absolutely love that storyline, And if you ask any of my family or whatever, that's one of the only things they actually remember from wrestling is that Doink versus Crush, where the second Doink comes out. They just love that. So, yeah. But watching it back last year and being able to get other people's opinions on it being like the biggest toga party ever, and some of the other bits and bobs they did that weren't so great, I'd have to put it a bit lower down. So I'd have to say it was lacking because the Giant Gonzalez Taker match was Undertaker's probably his worst Mania appearance. And there were a few things that weren't great about this one, but visually it was stunning. The setting at Caesar's Palace in Vegas was great, and I would love to see another Mania in Vegas. I think at the new stadium they built there, is it the Raiders Stadium? I think a Mania in Vegas would be great. I don't know if they'll do 40 there, but I think there's a few places that are due a Mania, and I'd say Vegas would be a good one. Canada would be, another good one. I think it's about time Canada got one. And it must be about time the UK got WrestleMania, isn't it, guys? Come on.
I don't think that's ever going to happen, Michael. I really don't. We've tried. We've been there. I've been there live in the crowd where they were chanting it. We want WrestleMania. And I remember Triple H picked up the mic and he said, "You want it in Albania?" Just mocking with the crowds. But yeah, who knows? Maybe one day. But they always go on about that time difference being the biggest issue with that. But I would love to see a SummerSlam. I mean, surely give us that in the offing. But yeah, I'm a bit like you. The only thing that stands out for me about WrestleMania 9 is the look and presentation. It's always one that if it's on telly, you know exactly what WrestleMania is. With others, you can't always do that with all the others. Okay, next up then, here we go. WrestleMania 15. Right in the middle of the Attitude Era to most people. They feel like this is the WrestleMania that captured a lot of the Attitude as well, because there was a lot of twists and turns even on the night. There you see The Rock and Austin headlining for the first time in their trilogy. But SP3, where is WrestleMania 19 ranking for you on this one?
Lacking. This lacks very much. I won't put it all the way in the crapper, even though I know a lot of people that would, because this WrestleMania is a one-match show. It's got The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin in the main event. That's the best thing and the only thing worth watching on this show. But when you look at the entire spectrum of their WrestleMania trilogy, this is the worst one. So it's like you got the worst Rock and Austin match is the highlight of your show. That's not a great benchmark. I mean, the only other thing worth watching and worth getting interested in would be the Shane McMahon, X-Pac, the rivalry and the match. The match was pretty good for Shane McMahon being so green in the ring and not experienced at all. And the storyline involving DX and the corporation, because in the end of that match with X-Pac and Shane McMahon, we get the big moment with Triple H turning heel on DX. So those moments and the main event are worth watching, but other than that, yeah, it's lacking.
Well, I think you're being a bit harsh there, Mr. SP3, I have to say. But what about for you, Michael? Where does this go?
It was this 15. Sorry, John, we're talking about.
Yeah, yes. WrestleMania 15. Yes, I might have said it wrong.
There was a few bits that were decent to this one. Obviously, the main Rock and Austin was good. The rematch at 17 was even better. That was a one I watched last week as well. But a few standout bits from this show was Butterbean versus Bart Gunn is one that I look
That's
back
not
on
a standout.
fondly,
That's a standout for the wrong reason.
That's just an absolute.
That's a standout for the wrong reason.
I was only watching Dark Side of the Ring again the other day, and you know, the Brawl for All, but that knockout, me and my friends must have watched that hundreds and hundreds of times over and over again.
Oh,
that for me is up there with
brutal. It's absolutely
with like Shockmaster and stuff like that for things to replay. So yeah, that happened. The Boss Man got hung at this one. That was only
yeah.
How is this a highlight? What are you're literally saying the worst parts of this show, and you're telling me those are highlights.
They're standouts, SP3. I'm saying
they stand out for the wrong reason. That's not how standout works. Standouts need like the best things, not the worst things. That's standing out for the wrong reason.
I'm just thinking, yeah, Peacock definitely are going to have to take most of this show out.
Oh, you won't get that on there. Crikey. They'll be long gone.
Yeah, I would have to say bang average for this show. Yeah, it's not one of the best Manias, but you know, I'm sure if I went back and watched it, I think I would definitely enjoy watching it and seeing, you know, where the stages people were at that time. There's people who were Owen Hart and people like that. It'd be great to see them wrestling again. So watching that back I'm sure it'd be a joy for some things, and then as SP3 said, yeah, not so much for others. So yeah, bang average that one.
Fair enough. I do like it, but I think it's because I was a teenager at the time, and I was like, it was at the time at school. It was the only time at school that wrestling was cool in this era, and I suddenly become popular because people wanted to know all the ridiculous rumors that used to get up on teletext, what we used to have in this country, and then ridiculous numbers for rumors. So Austin, thank goodness you made me cool. Thank you, Stone Cold. I'll never forget it. Next up, we've got WrestleMania 22, titled Big Time. Had Peter Gabriel, of all people, as the tune there. I'm sure you guys are familiar. John Cena and Triple H headlining that show. Not sure how much you remember of this, but did have a lot of good match. I mean, this was the one with Shawn Michaels and McMahon, of course, as well. There was a kind of a lot of random stuff going on, but I thought I really enjoyed this main event. I watched it the other day, and it actually stands out the test of time for me. This was a very much passing of the torch this night, I felt. But SP3, where does WrestleMania 22 in your gauge of this now? Are we going to get any? I wonder from you, SP3, if we're going to get higher than bang average. I'm doubtful. I am very doubtful.
Big time. I'm on my way now.
Yep, that's it. There we go.
Boom, boom, boom.
There we go.
Big time. I'm gonna watch it grow. Yeah. All right. One of the better theme songs to WrestleMania, I just want to say.
Yeah.
Wow. I think this was bang average. But it is a very underrated WrestleMania because there's really not anything. Well, there's one thing objectively bad on this show, but other than that one thing, and that is, I think it's Boogeyman versus Booker T and Charmel. Like, that's the only thing that's objectively bad. Like, no matter what, even if you're a fan of Booker of the Boogeyman, yeah, you can't tell me that's a good match because there was no wrestling. It's all about his gimmick. It's not a good match at all. I think a lot of the stuff that stands out to me is Edge versus Mick Foley. The hardcore match is probably one of Edge's best matches at WrestleMania. I guess, well, singles matches. It's Mick Foley's best match at WrestleMania ever. Shawn Michaels versus Vince McMahon is Vince McMahon's greatest match ever. Shawn Michaels proved he's Mr. WrestleMania by getting that out of Vince McMahon and just having an entertaining spectacle.
That scene in the bin where he's like can't see anything out of it, and Michaels comes down.
The main event set in motion a lot of things in 2006, like the crowd response at One Night Stand when Cena versus Rob Van Dam. It really was foreshadowed in this matchup because the Chicago crowd hated John Cena. He had this big, great entrance, and they just booed him out the building. And Triple H had this gravitas. One of my favorite Triple H entrances, by the way. He comes out and is like looking like Conan the Barbarian as a king. and then he has the King of Kings song, and then he gets up, and then the game song starts. It's one of the best Triple H entrances of all time at WrestleMania, and it's a very good main event. It's a very underrated main event as well. So you got all of those things. You got a pretty good Money in the Bank match, which Rob Van Dam wins. You got Kane and Big Show as tag team champions versus Chris Masters and Carlito.
Yeah.
There is a lot of things to enjoy and pick out. Chris Benoit, JBL. I don't know if you're able to watch either one of those people who have done bad things in their life, but it is a good match. So yes, the WrestleMania 22, there's a lot of good to it, but I'm going to put it as bang average because I'm gauging by what you're giving me here. You know, you're just.
I thought the way you were singing that song, this is getting a decent, at least the way you enjoyed that song.
It's bang average because really Edge and Foley is the thing that like will always get replayed and always be talked about from this event. But everything else that I mentioned is good. It's just not memorable.
What about for you, Mr. Mike Angus? Do you remember this one? Is this familiar with you?
Yeah, really. Well, I went to, I'm just thinking, I think I went to either Raw or SmackDown in London just before this. It's normally we have the WrestleMania Revenge tour, but I think on this one we actually got a show just before Mania, and it was building up to, I remember they had the boom cam out, and Shane elbowed Sean through the announce table, I think it was. So, you know, that stuff like that didn't happen in England often, someone getting put through an announce table. You know, our announce tables were solid. So, yeah, I would say
different still.
That's it, exactly. I would say bang average. There was. I'm not a big John Cena fan. I went to 23, which was the WrestleMania after this, and you know, it followed on because I think they were aiming to have Triple H versus John Cena.
Yeah, they were. He got injured,
and then he tore his quad again. Yeah, and it ended up being Shawn against him, and obviously Cena won again. But there was near riots in Detroit at that one. A lot of people left their WrestleMania chairs because it was so chaotic at the end of that one. But yeah, Mick Foley versus Edge is one of my favorite matches. Still stands the test of time. I was only watching the Untold story on the network earlier on today. Watching that match again, love that match. I know Mick Foley speaks very highly of it, and Edge as well. So yeah, at that time I was really invested in that one. It'd go amiss if I didn't mention that a guy Grizz, who does the Turnbuckle Arms, his favourite ever WrestleMania match was the Playboy Pillow match. So you know, so that stood the test of time for him. I'm guessing that'd be something that.
Let me guess, his second best matches from WrestleMania 19, the Miller Lite Catfight Girls fiasco they did with the pillows. I can't remember. I think that was a pillows fight as well.
I think they're his favourite. Yeah, when I was doing a watch, we did the WrestleMania 17 with Wrestling with Johners, and he commented. He said, "No show is as good as any that hasn't got the pillow fights on it." So you know, that's what he's a fan of. There
you go. That's what the casual fans apparently are missing these days. There you go. We've got to go backwards, have we?
Wrestling wise, Rey Mysterio versus Orton versus Kurt Angle was great, and a big moment for Rey, obviously, after Eddie had just passed away. And you know, they did that spot with the German suplexes, which I'm not going to ever forget, where Rey ends up nearly going out the ring, doesn't he?
Yeah, so crazy
that was
spot.
great. And it was Mickey James that had that was one of the only times in my whole life where I've actually had my own Sky TV and been able to actually watch week in, week out. And the big storyline at the time was that, you know, Mickey James and Trish Stratus, they built that up a lot. And then there's a moment, obviously, Peacock will have to cut out of that match as well.
Mate, they're going to need a lot of censors, aren't they? There, I'm sure they're doing it as we speak. They've probably got about 50 people on the case. Okay, the final WrestleMania. Now I know this one is gonna. This is going to be an absolute delight. I'm telling you. Here we go, WrestleMania, and here's the big thing for it. This is just for you, SP3, just for you, because this is one of your best favorite moments. The night that, of course, Braun Strowman won with his tag partner that he got out of the crowd. Of course, he was completely random. Nobody's son that works there. This was a random fan, Nicholas, who goes down as the youngest ever tag team champion. You were there that night, WrestleMania 34. I mean, this had Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, and I remember going into this thinking that has got to be like the best booked match in a long time for WWE. Give us something. We'd seen them have it at Wrestle Kingdom, and unfortunately, it didn't live up to the billing. And that was also a night, I believe, Oscar went in as well, and I was expecting them both to sort of, I don't know, like come out the other side a lot better. But Nakamura had a crazy heel turn, as I recall, and I thought that character might pull off a lot more, but that didn't either. And I've got to say, since all that, poor old Nakamura, well, I don't know, he's gone from my absolute favourite to I don't even recognise him anymore. It's so unfortunate. He's not a mirror image of himself anymore, unfortunately. But SP3, you were there. You must have been pumped for it. And knowing you and your Wrestle Kingdom roots, you must have been going into that thinking we're going to get something special.
No, I know my WWE. I know WWE. Like, I know right. WWE. I was excited for it, but I was apprehensive because I knew WWE, had the opportunity to mess this up, which they did. But it's a lot of different reasons for that. And why couldn't you give us the other Mania at 30, at New Orleans, WrestleMania 30? So we can talk about a great WrestleMania for once. But no, we have to talk about WrestleMania 34. So we're going to the lacking tier here because I was there live, and the best moment, the peak of that show, like I said, WrestleMania 35, it peaked at Kofi versus Bryan. Entrance, because the best match of the show came right before Bryan's entrance, and that was our Lord and Savior, UFC Hall of Famer, and the baddest on the planet, Rowdy Ronda Rousey, debut at WrestleMania, teaming with Kurt Angle to defeat Triple H versus Stephanie McMahon. From the entrance to the end of the match, I have never been that excited to see a match live because I was going crazy for Ronda. Ronda had the place on their feet. She blew the roof off the building when she stood toe-to-toe with Triple H. It's one of the better debuts of anyone from outside of like the celebrity coming in to WWE that I've ever seen. It's the best presentation, and that was the best booked feud going into WrestleMania, honestly, because I made the look when you said Nakamura and AJ was the best booked match. I think it was the best match on paper WWE had presented, but it wasn't the best booked match because they told us it was a dream match, but never really pushed it like it was a dream match. They just said it was. They just said it was and expected us to feel like it was when they never really built it like that at all. And, we get it late in the show when the crowd is already dead, and we get the Nakamura heel turn, which is the only thing that really stands out from that whole matchup. So it's like, that's a down point of the match. Danny O'Brien's return, his entrance was great. Everybody was on their feet. And then he spends the first 10 minutes of the match on his back on the outside, and we just see Zayn and Owens beat up Shane McMahon. So that was a down point, and the show pretty much went off a cliff. We had Nicholas with Braun with the tag team title. we had the main event where
I thought he was going to skip past that moment then.
legit though, the main event I have to touch on because legit Romeo from Tru Heel Heat, he walked out the building when Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar begun because he did not want to see Roman Reigns' coronation. And then we didn't even get it. We got Roman getting bloodied. He lost. It was just like, this was a complete waste of time. You should have just embraced the fact you made it this far. Just embrace the fact he's going to get a negative response again. Just embrace it. He wins the match because it made no sense keeping the title on Brock. We just got a couple of more months of a champion that wasn't there, and it was still focused on Roman Reigns. So it didn't make any sense. Before that, the opener was great. Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and The Miz, one of the better openers to WrestleMania. Charlotte and Asuka was great. Rusev Day was awesome, but he didn't win. It's like a roller coaster. It's an up and down WrestleMania, so it's lacking.
Fair enough. What about for you, Michael? After all, that was you a fan of the Nicholas spot that SP3 probably has nightmares about to this day?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was lacking that Mania. Me and the lads watch every Mania, and I think that was one of either the first or the second one that my son stayed up and watched with us. And he was a fan of Nicholas winning because to him it was like he'd gone out
You
there and
see?
won the.
There is an appeal.
He could have gone out and won the championship, but yeah, it was not a great show. Out of the 6 of us who watch all the pay-per-views and stuff, I think only me and my son were still awake watching that one at the end of it, and which is a shame, because back in the day, the lads love it, and then but if they can't even stay awake for you,
because it's so bloody long, though.
Yeah,
but being a wrestling fan, guys, you've got to put yourself through it, and watch it all and see. Then you can make your judgment, can't you? But yeah, unfortunately for the sort of casual fans, not like ourselves, it was more of a nap time. And SP3, you need to come and watch a pay-per-view in the UK with us, mate. It's a whole different ball game. When it starts at 1 o'clock in the morning and you're sitting there and the sun's coming up and you've got to go and get breakfast an hour after the main event, it's a completely different story. Yeah. You come up with different
your
views
body
and everything.
doesn't know what to do. 1 minute it's having pizza, the next minute it's having breakfast. It's like feed me alcohol, and then it's orange juice within an instant. So,
wow.
so it's a wonderful thing. So where's it going, Michael? Come on, where's
I'd
this?
say lacking, definitely lacking. I would say
okay.
That's why they say the ball shot was heard around the world, because when he did it him in the nuts, I felt it in England, to tell you.
Well, I enjoyed that though. I did like the fact they turned him heel, but I just wish he'd have come out champion as well. It was the moment AJ gives him the title, and that moment is when he does it. I think that would have been perfect to get a bit of momentum. But haven't seen much. Thank you very much, you two. I kind of feel like I've put SP3 through the ringer there of bringing up all these emotions, which was deliberate, by the way. This was my
WrestleManias you could have picked for him.
Well, yeah, because I think when I make it too happy, Michael, this is WrestleMania, and like I say, if we go into this feeling negative, the only way is up. So this is my plan. This is my plan. Yeah, absolutely. So for the first time ever on Powered 4 SP3, I'm going to now give the opportunity for true or false to both of you. No, don't give me any reasons to why you think it's true or false, obviously, because you might give the other the nod and they might steal your answer. So if you guys are ready for this WrestleMania special of true or false, Michael, I know you're new to this, but literally, it's just a flat true or false statement, whether you think it reads true, or Mr. from Tru Heel Heat over there, Mr. himself, or completely false. So we're going to start this one. Yeah, there he goes. We all got to get our points on for WrestleMania. I need to next year. I'm going to get a sign, and we can all point to it. Every time I say we got to promote something, we could just point to the sign. Anyway, let's start with number 1 then. So here we go. Nice and early from WrestleMania here. WrestleMania 2 was held across 3 locations, which were New York, Chicago, and Atlanta. True or false? I'll start with you, SP3.
False.
And Michael?
I'm going to say false as well.
It is false. Congratulations. It was held in 3 different places, but it wasn't Atlanta. It was Los Angeles.
Yeah,
was the third one. So I tried to trick you there, but SP3, he was very careful, wasn't he?
Got it.
He didn't go gun blazing there like some others have done. This is the thing, Michael. I have to be I've got to be more creative with this stuff because he's good. So I've had to pick out some random stuff.
He is the oracle.
Exactly. This is what I'm up against. WrestleMania 4 and 5 were not held at Trump Plaza. True or false?
Who do you want to go first?
I'll start with Michael this time. I'll start with you, Michael.
False. False.
And for you, SP3?
False.
Dun, dun. And the reason is, although it was although it was advertised that basically WWE billed Trump Plaza as the venue of 2 events because Donald Trump was the sponsor of the events getting naming rights, but it was actually from Atlanta City Convention Hall and not Trump Plaza. So there you go. It was a tricky one. It was a tricky one on my end.
It though.
I always remember
they advertised it because it was a bloody
Plaza.
Donald Trump. There you go. Well, look,
he was front row of both of them, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. God knows how much he pumped into it, and he probably booked the whole night, if we're honest. But anyway, next up, here we go. WrestleMania 20 was the first Mania to have 2 women's matches. True or false? SP3, I'll start with you first.
Trying to think now. What other ones do we have?
He's going back in his cycle now.
His cycle.
We got that. We got that with that, but that didn't. Okay. Let's say true. I'm guessing. This is always the point where I guess true.
And for you, Michael, true or false? WrestleMania 20, the first Mania to have 2 women's matches on it.
I'm going to say false, just to mix things up a bit. I can't think of one that had 2 of them.
True, I'm afraid, Michael. True, unbelievable. By the way, I have to say, who would ever think it? But yeah, WrestleMania 20 was the one that featured Sable, Tori, and Miss Jackie, Stacey Keebler in what your mate would probably like an evening gown match, and the other one was, of course, Victoria and Molly Holly. Hair versus title match, and of course she got it shaved as well. Recently inducted, great to see her on there as well. Actually, one of the most, I think, underrated women's performers actually back in that day, if I'm being honest. But next up, here we go. WrestleMania 2000 had no normal singles match on the card. True or false? I'll start with you, Michael.
So they either had a stipulation or a belt on the line, is that, or?
No. So they could have a belt on the line, but no matches were the normal singles match. They all had like some sort of stipulation added to it.
Okay, I'm going to say that true then. I'm sure there was one. There was one that was just chock full of different things. I think it was that one. So yeah, I'm going to say true.
And for you, SP3?
It's true. Well, no, it's false, actually. There was one singles match.
Was there?
There was.
Well, you can divulge, SP3.
There we go. I was trying to knock him off there. Mike Angus, but you know, I was trying to get him to change his answer. Really, no, he wasn't going to do that, was he? Okay, next up. Here we go. Now, this one's interesting. I think this is another, comes back to the women's wrestling here. No women's match had lasted 10 minutes until WrestleMania 32. This is a hard one, guys. I'm going to start with USP3. True or false? No, there's no way he's going to be able to recollect all the matches. I mean, surely he's not going to go through his mind.
Trish, damn it, that's me. That would be my answer. How long did Mickey and Trish go? I'm gonna say false, because I think Mickey and Trish was like 10 minutes.
For you, Michael?
I'm gonna say true, just to play devil's advocate.
It is true, unbelievably. Yes, that is a factual thing. It took all those WrestleManias to get out past 10 minutes. It's unbelievable, isn't it? But yeah, there you go.
Bianca versus Sasha should go at least 10 minutes this weekend, shouldn't it?
Oh, I hope so. Should
be main events in night one, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
it will the main events for sure.
Yeah, let's hope so. Okay, this is another one here. Rob Van Dam has lost at least once at WrestleMania. True or false? Over to you, Michael.
I'm going to say false.
And for USP3?
False.
Correct.
Yes.
He's actually won all of his matches at WrestleMania. He's got his own little streak going, but it's only 4. Not 21, I'm afraid. But there you go. Okay, we've got the last 3 here now, guys. You're doing well. You're doing well. So hang in there. The longest WWE Championship match, WrestleMania, is Triple H versus Roman Reigns. It's the longest considered match. Over to you, SP3, to come up with that on time. This is, by the way.
False.
Very quickly said.
I'm going to say false as well.
It is false. Well done. Of course, the longest one is the Iron Man match.
Yeah.
I just did a live stream for that.
I should have known. I should have known.
That match did not age well at all. Man, Brett put Sean in a headlock for like 10 minutes of the match. Like, very hard to watch.
Don't knock it. Compared to today, mate, I'll take that. Okay, here's the last final one from the end here. The Undertaker's streak included a victory against every member of the legendary faction Evolution. In fact, he has defeated Triple H 3 times at one show, or at the famous show of shows, of course. True or false? Over to you, Michael. Is this true? Has he defeated all Evolution? Yeah. Okay. What about for you, SP3?
True.
It is true. I thought I was going to catch him with that. Yes, he has faced everybody, including Ric Flair. Be a great match. In fact, it was actually a very good match. It was kind of like Flair's coming out back to WWE match to prove himself again. He actually done very well. And finally, gentlemen, Hulk Hogan has main evented WrestleMania 8 times, the most by any performer. Roman Reigns is next to him with 4 main events to his name. True or false? Start with you. Who did I go? I can't remember, I believe. I'll start with you.
Thank you.
Sorry, me first? Did you say sorry?
Yeah, you said you first.
I'm just counting up. I'm just wondering whether you count WrestleMania 18 as the main. He wasn't main eventing. I'm going to say false.
No, let me clarify this. This has to be closing the show. This is what we're talking about with these main events.
The final. So do you count? Are you counting WrestleMania 9 then? Oh, it's a bit of a.
Well, this is it, Michael. This is the trick.
Yeah, it's true. It's true then if you're counting WrestleMania 9 as well, I think. Yeah, go true.
What about for you, SP3? Is Roman
Roman
Reigns?
Oh, it's Roman throwing it out, actually.
That's the second one right there, lad. That's throwing me off right there.
No, he's not counting them up, surely.
Yes, I'm counting for other people because you're not telling us that other people. It's false because Roman is not second. Triple H is.
Yes, he's got it. He's got it again. I can't believe it. Well done, SP3. Yes, you're right. Triple H is the next in line, of course. He's done it, I believe. Let's have a look here. Triple H is the next with 7 Mania main events. That's closing the show to his name. Yeah, 7.
Didn't pay attention to the
so there you go. Well, there you go. Well done, SP3. You just get the upper hand.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm humble.
Yeah, I am, especially after that Mark come on and told me about last week's fiasco with Alex McCarthy. And I was thinking, I can get him back here. I can get him back later on this show. No, I can't. I've gone away. I'm going to go back to editing while he goes on to Wrestling Daily, laughing at me. That's what's going to happen here. So, yeah, there we go. Want to thank everybody that contributed earlier on. Of course, Brett Thomas, I hope you enjoy Logan Paul at WrestleMania. Before we go, though, let me just ask you both, what are you most looking forward to in terms of the WrestleMania matches? Michael, I'll start with you. Is there one that comes off the the page at you that you're most looking forward to the most?
I think on night one, I think Cesaro versus Rollins will be a standout match. It's a big moment for both those guys. So yeah, I think that'll be a good one. I also had Bianca versus Sasha highlighted for that show. I'm hoping as well that they, in a way that they have. Do you think they'll have Lashley versus Drew open the show? SP3. Because I've heard rumors about it.
I know Drew McIntyre wants to, but it depends on WWE, because WWE may want to have the show end with Drew McIntyre winning the WWE Championship. So it really depends on that.
Yeah. And
don't talk to me about Lashley. What have they done to him?
They could be building something with the hair business still. It could be a long play story.
That would be stupid. That would be stupid. I've heard people suggest that, and I'm just like, that would not make sense, though. Like, why would he beat them up? Like, why would he beat them up? Like, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense splitting them up, though, either, does it? Really?
No, none of this makes sense. But the people's like solution of, oh, they're just playing a long con and they're gonna get back together at WrestleMania. I'm like, that's stupid. That's stupid.
What about Keith Lee being involved? Do you think he might take that bounty on the night?
I don't think Keith Lee is going to be at WrestleMania.
I think he'll make it. And on night two, picks, I think Apollo versus Big E has been built pretty well. They've drawn it out a little bit, but I think that'll be great. Both of those guys can deliver on the biggest stage, and it's time that Big E got his chance to shine, I think. And also the triple threat, Daniel Bryan, Edge, and Roman Reigns. It's a bit random they've made it a triple threat.
We're a triple threat here, mate.
That's it, exactly. But they're those guys. I think they'll definitely deliver. I think it's I think they'll they'll take it away, and it'll be memorable. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a great weekend. So yeah.
Cool. What about for you, the hard man over here to please, SP3 now? What is jumping off the page here, SP3, for you? Are you going night one and night two, or is there just one in between both?
How am I a hard man to please? I call it like I see it. I am just I just rate things on a scale. I have metrics, I have analytics. I use it all. As far as the match to night one, Sasha and Bianca, I think it's going to be a good matchup. I think it's going to be great. It would be great if they got the main event spot as well, or the opening spot. I think whoever opens is in the best position. Honestly, I don't think main eventing night one is as beneficial of being the first match with fans in attendance in over a year. Like, that is the best spot for anyone on night one of WrestleMania. So I understand Drew lobbying for it, and I would love for Sasha and Bianca to lobby for it, because that would put them in the best position where they get enough time and the fans are going to be invested, where in the main event they might not be. So those are the two matches that stand out. Cesaro, Seth, that's going to be great as well. Night two is the better night for me, because when you look at the entire WrestleMania build, the only match that feels like it's worthy of being at WrestleMania is the main event of night two with Daniel Bryan, Edge, and Roman Reigns. I think it was the right decision putting Daniel Bryan in the triple threat, because the story has been about him since the Elimination Chamber. It's always been about Daniel Bryan and mixing him in, and Edge leaning toward the heel role. It's more comfortable for him. And Roman has kind of become a tweener in this all, where we don't really know how the fans are going to react to this new Roman Reigns. Like, it's been a battle between the fans and Roman Reigns, but if social media is any indication, people have really enjoyed the Tribal Chief character for Roman Reigns. So there may be fans in attendance that cheer him. So I think it was a very wise decision to place him in the tweener role. So I think that this match is going to be fantastic. I also think Zayn and Owens is going to be great. But what I want to see for WrestleMania weekend, John Scott, you know what I want to see. I want to see
the return of Nicholas.
2020 Spotify Artist of the Year, the 2021 Grammy Award winner, and my ethnic celebrity chief, Bad Bunny. I want to see him tear it up.
He's in a tag match now.
Hey, he's going to tear it up. He's going to be the star of that tag match. Like I said, he's with a 38-year-old rookie named Damian Peace. He's with John Morrison and The Miz on the other side. So I am ready for Bad Bunny to steal the show at WrestleMania.
I hope they get his car cleaned up for him.
Yeah, I'm ready for Logan Paul at WrestleMania, me. Night 2, but yeah, there we go. We'll see who's the better. Maybe they'll do a match at SummerSlam between them two. You could just see it now. But yeah, thank you both very much for this episode. Enjoyed your company and the banter as always between everyone. Also, I'm just going to give a little heads up because people have been asking Powered for Showcase, what are we going to get? Obviously, we're going to have 8 matches and maybe a couple of bonus ones as well on the hour. So stick around. But I can tell you now, some of them matches that will be involved. Jody Fleisch up against Mr. Bastard himself, Pac. And you was at that one yourself there, Mike Angus, I believe, from, of course, TNT Extreme Wrestling. So, yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. Of course you did. I thought it was you. I thought I recognized that guy that was doing it. The other ones as well. I'm going to throw this one out because this is quite a random match that I found on 1PW for us, and it's a 6-man tag team match. Austin Aries, Matt Sydal, and Roderick Strong up against Darkseid and the Briscoe brothers. You wouldn't have got that many times back then, but that was a big match they had amongst those guys, and very much or you can imagine what that was like. A lot of high risk moves and goodness knows what else. So stick around, more details to follow with that. And Mike, I know you're involved there with the introductions of our night, kicking that off at 2 p.m. on Saturday, of course, on the hour, a match every time. Mike, I'll go to you, the promoting man that you are as always. Let everybody know where they can find you and what's coming up for you in the next couple of weeks, my friend.
Yeah, brilliant. So this week, I believe we're doing some predictions on Saturday for Mania, so I'll be joining you for that, John. Also, we've got the Hair of the Mad Dog on Sunday, reviewing the first night of WrestleMania. So it'd be great after watching that to come in at 2:00 Sunday afternoon when everyone's just about to have the Sunday roasts and let them know what happened.
Put your knees up and watch us.
That's it, exactly. Get involved. We've then got added time on Sunday evening at 7:00, which is our football show, our soccer show for the guys in the States. And we do have a WrestleMania special this week. I believe we're going to be joined by a famous wrestler from the UK who's also a big football fan. So we should get some intelligent and interesting conversations there out of that. Also this week, my WrestleMania 23 review that I did is going to be dropping, so keep your eyes peeled for that. That'll be in the wrestling group, and we'll have that all over social media. It'll be great little chat about Detroit, my adventure there when I went to visit the Motor City back in 2007. So that'll be a nice little story, and there might be a few pictures or whatever of me causing havoc in the States there. So so all the fun stuff. And then that's it, exactly. Well, no, I am allowed back in at any time. So SP3, do be aware. You never know when I'm going to turn up and announce the show for you. So keep your eyes peeled. And then next couple of weeks we've got some shows on the horizon now. So Superstar Pro Wrestling in Liverpool is looking to start on June 21st. So Monday, June 21st, we're going to have a show in Liverpool. So I believe tickets are going on sale very shortly for that. So keep your eyes peeled. And then the week after, we've got TNT Extreme Wrestling in Liverpool on June 26th and 27th. So really looking forward to getting back to action, doing a bit of announcing. And I know there's all sorts of plans now in the UK for stuff taking off. So Wrestle Island and BWP, who I also announced for, have all got shows in the pipeline now. So just keep your eyes peeled on the social media, at Angus Mad Dog on Twitter and on the Facebook and Instagram, and anything we've got coming up. Try and get yourselves along to it. It'd be great to catch up, and looking forward to WrestleMania, and great to see SP3 again as well. Great to catch up with you, mate. Hope you're well.
He's the man. He's the A side of the cassette, as I always say, Mike. SP3 here from Essex to New York. What a difference. Freezing here. SP3, I know we said earlier some of the things you've got coming up, but where can we find you as well? Look, I found this picture just now. There you go. Hey. This is what life's like in New York, Mike. We're here stuck cold, freezing. These guys are chilling out. I mean, look at that pose.
It up. That's it. Yeah. Oh, we'll be there one day, John.
That was
we will be.
pre-pandemic, to be fair. But yes, you could find me at Tru Heel SP3 on Twitter, at Tru Heel Heat, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That is the hub for all of our content over on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. A whole WrestleMania week of content later tonight, 10:30 p.m. We're going live with Wednesday Night Warriors finale, reviewing AEW Dynamite and NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 1. We go live tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time with Tru Heel Heat 120, featuring Darius Carter. We got our WrestleMania 37 preview on Friday night, early for you guys in the UK. It's like going to be like 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. for you guys, but 11:30 for us in the US. Saturday, NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Roundtable review. And then Sunday, we'll go live for our roundtable following WrestleMania. You will also see me on the Wrestle Talk podcast channel on Sunday for the preview for WrestleMania 37 Night 1. I'll also be on the Sports Keto Wrestling YouTube channel tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. BST with Dutch Mantel and Jeremy Lambert previewing WrestleMania 37 both nights, previewing that big show's going to be a fun show right there, a fun preview, excuse me. And then I'll be back on Sports Keto Wrestling for Smack Talk on Friday evening following SmackDown.
Amazing as always. If your energy is, I don't know what it's at the moment, but let's see where it's at come after WrestleMania. Let's see where it's at, what battery life you've got left. Is it going to be like an iPhone going down like mine? Who knows? But yeah, thank you very much. And obviously, I hope you both, well, I know you and I, Mike, will be back on Saturday, but SP3, I hope you enjoy WrestleMania and all the work you'll be doing up and towards it. I hope it's good, because the better that is, of course, the better you guys can talk about it and kind of break it down. Let's hope so anyway. Mike, want to thank you very much for the intro as well for the show, the WrestleMania 6 spoof of Ultimate Warrior and Hogan, of course, the battle of the universe, the stars aligning, and goodness knows what else Vince was smoking that day. I'll tell you, I don't know what, but yeah, he was on one there for that. But thank you very much for that, and we'll be back next Wednesday for Powered for SP3. I think it's going to be a long week until then, so enjoy yourselves, guys, and for everybody watching, enjoy WrestleMania. Check out Powered4.TV this week, and we'll see you then. Cheers, guys.
See you, gang. Thank you.
There's one man with potentially a better winning record than Cara Noir. What? He's cashing in. Cara Noir does not look happy, does not look comfortable right now. For the first time in his title reign, I think Cara Noir feels like he is facing a legitimate threat right now. Sammy Smooth is ready for this.
Very ready. He's encouraging him to ring the bell. And there is the bell.
Cara Noir looks... TJ, I don't think I've ever seen Cara Noir look this uncomfortable in the ring before. Oh! He refused to say he was ready to... Oh, yeah, now he's ready.
Now ring the bell.
Now he's ready.
Of course.